Hello and welcome to the first episode of Wacky Kitchen. Today I'll be cooking a chicken and noodle soup made from the chicken bones or duck bones, whatever animal you happen to have left over with the bones, and show you step by step how to create this dish.
Obviously you don't need to have as many bones in as I've done. You can save them in the freezer for as long as you like and then use them at a later date, but I've saved a few too many.
Now that you've cooked your bones and made the broth, you can strain off the bones and pick off the meat, which is a slow and boring process, so I won't do that for you right now. But once you've done that, return the meat into the soup, and then the next process comes of adding your extra ingredients like vegetables, noodles, or whatever else you may wish to add.
Don't do everything straight into the strainer because you'll make a large mess all over your kitchen. I suggest you fish out as many bones as you can to start with and then strain it through a colander. Otherwise, like I said, it will go everywhere and you don't want that. I mean, it's natural gravity, so yeah. And remember to take out your giblets and keep them at the top while you're cooking them as well, so that they don't get too hot, and keep them in the bag sealed to keep all the juices in, because otherwise it might get a bit too tough whilst you're boiling everything else. I've cooked it for, I don't know, about an hour. That's plenty to get all the juices out the bones.
The thing to remember whenever you're cutting your vegetables is that you must have safe and secure chopping boards, a suitable knife for what you plan to use, somewhere to put your cut vegetables to remove them from the chopping board to make it easier, and somewhere to store the rubbish that you're going to throw away or recycle, compost, whatever you plan to do with it. I mean, you could possibly cook another soup from the leftovers, but it probably wouldn't be that tasty, so I don't advise that. Okay, due to a lack of a good angle with the camera, I've improvised some sort of device to hold it on me whilst I prepare this. This is the first episode of 90, so in future I will aim to find a better way of doing this. And after I've said that, I've completely messed this onion up for making it easy to cut. And as we're doing the soup, you want to make sure that you have the pieces as small as possible. But like I said, I've messed this onion up. But I will still use it nonetheless, rather than waste it. And with the next onion I will show you how to do this a lot easier. Obviously my cube sizes are a bit bigger than I would have liked due to messing this onion up. If you keep things clean as you go along, it makes it easier in the long run. And as you can see, that furnace there, I attempted to sit the camera on that to get a good angle of the chopping, but it wasn't really very secure. Now what you want to do with your onion, get rid of the outside layer, cut off one end, chop it in half, keeping the roots intact. Peel off your outside layer with any remaining skin. Now as you've still got the root end intact, you can slice very fine chunks, slice slices close together. And make a very fine slice. Now that slice didn't have the roots on because it was on the other end, but you get the picture. It makes it easier if you've got an intact ends rather than a huge gaping gap like I had before. You can pack your slices very, very close together. And once you get to near the ends, just put it on its side like that. And chop down any remaining slices and then get rid of the ends and you have a nice fine slice. Rather than show you me chopping all the onions, that'd be rather boring. Once you've done that, just add all of your onion into your soup mixture. And then I will show you the rest in a second. Now that I've added all my onion, I decided to move on to the next ingredient I'm going to use. Now, you know, I used to buy fresh peppers off the market, spend ages cutting them up, and then freeze them, because you used to get the crate about trying to fit it onto the camera roll, bigger than the camera can show while I'm wearing it. That big, you know, a ton of peppers for a quiz that you can spend ages chopping up and then freeze and use whenever you want. But nowadays they just don't do that, and it's just really is best value, and they're perfectly good peppers. And you know, they taste perfect. You cook them and they taste just as good. So we're going to add a few of these. I'm going to freeze the video while I put this back in the freezer. So yeah, I've got my peppers. They're a bit bigger than I would like. Probably going to be hard to cut because it's frozen, but I mean, with a big knife, if you're holding it the right way and not paying attention, because I'm looking at the camera, so yeah, pay attention to what you're doing. And hold your knife. And try to dice it into tiny little slices. These probably need a bit of time to defrost by the look of it, because you back. Now you may be wondering why exactly I've called this series The Wacky Kitchen. I mean, it's not necessarily to do with the ingredients I'll be using or what I'll be cooking, but more to do with the fact that I've got such a small kitchen that I've had to do some wacky things to have it functional, so to speak. I mean, you know, it's not just for cooking purposes. I need to be able to wash my clothes, so washer dryer combines, which meant I had no room for an actual full-size oven, you know, like normal people have. So I have in the corner this, it's quite old, but it's an actual convection oven and grill combined with a microwave, and it works as good as a normal oven. It preheats, it cooks properly, it's really good and space saving. And then I've got my hob, which is also unusual. I mean, it looks like it should be a hob that is designed to be cut into a worktop, and that's sort of how I've used it, but I haven't actually cut a hole in the worktop. It's resting on this plank of wood that I've balanced between the two worktops and then wired it in, because, you know, I mean, I do plan to cut it in eventually, or possibly move before then, but either way, yeah, it works. It's good enough for me, it's solid, it cooks, and like I said, it's not actually one of them. It's a unit that's designed to be the top of an actual proper cooker, because it's meant to be wired into that and not wired directly to the walls, but hey, it suits the purpose. And also, you should note that normal electric ring sets, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mine sort of goes half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. And it also cooks more than you'd expect. I mean, 1.5, it cooks at a normal setting 4, shall we say. Setting 2 is about setting 5. Setting, so full power, I've never used the rings on full power. I don't know, I think it would melt the pan possibly, because it is a little unusual, just to say the least. I mean, yeah, that's my kitchen for you. And yeah, there's a load of other things I will explain in due course, but the oven, the rings and everything, they're fairly standard, but I've got quite a few different cooking things in here, for different recipes, different ways of doing things. And it gets a little bit weird, so, I might not be cooking in the way everyone expects, but you can replicate how I cook things. I mean, there are different ways of doing it. So, for example, if I'm cooking on the George Foreman grill, you can just shove it in a normal oven, shove it in a normal grill, cook it on a pan. There's different ways, you can improvise. It's not an exact science, is it now? I mean, but, I cook what I plan to cook the way I like it, and it comes out good. So, yeah. And here's an example of my rings. I mean, as you can see, it's very unusual. Right, so the peppers are defrosted a fair bit. And with a big knife, it's easy to make tiny little cubes out of something like that. So just go like that, keeping your fingers from under the knife. It's easier if you weigh down the back end. To go along the peppers. Keep them going backwards and forwards like that, alternating. Alternating your direction, it makes it easier to make tiny, which are suitable for going in a soup like this.